My good friend Dennis Redden asked me to go to Africa with him on a plains game hunt. There's no way I wasn't going. The only stipulation was I had to hunt a croc with the bow. They were a little concerned about having a float line attached directly to the crocodile, and if you pull on that crocodile, is he going to start coming after you? So it can be a frightening thing going after these crocodile, but that's the adventure of this hunt. So we booked our plains game hunt with Delato Adventures in South Africa. We could not do the crocodile hunt in South Africa because it's not legal to shoot crocodile with a bow and arrow. So Dennis and myself stayed an extra 7 days, and we drove up into Zimbabwe to do the actual crocodile hunt. We had to team up with Tim, who is a licensed professional hunter in Zimbabwe.
I've been a professional hunter for 16 years in Zimbabwe, licensed in Zimbabwe. And I've done quite a few bow hunts, but never one like this. When we arrived in camp and Jeff pulled out this bow with this oversized float item attached to the front of it and all these strings hanging everywhere, I thought, I don't know about this movie. I don't know, I didn't put too much hope in it. I thought, well, we'll give it our best, but I don't know if this is going to work.
The plan was to use a big game retriever pro with a float system on the bow. Once I shoot the croc with the breakaway arrow, the croc is going to run and is going to pull the shaft from the point, leaving the point inside the croc. And that point is going to be attached directly to the float so that we're able to track the croc after we hit it.
Croc with a bow, you can do it, and so on. And then he comes up with this with his float system idea. He wants to shoot it with a float system of AMS Bowfishing. And so I said, yeah, okay, that might be a different story.
We got a couple nice croc in. There was, and at least 4 of them were good shooters, probably 11 to 12 foot. There's a couple swimming around out there yet. And the plan is we're gonna build this little natural blind here today, get it nice and concealed so we can come in around the back side here. That's the trail we come in on. Come in, sneak in real quiet. Gonna throw some bait out here about 12 yards away. And hopefully they'll come right up this bank, give me a nice broadside shot. We'll get that float in him and then see where he goes and get him out. So bait set. Just wait for him to come in now.
Hunting croc with a bow with a float. It's something that's not really been done before. I know they do it all the time on alligator, but in Africa it's a little bit different story. Crocs and so on is much more aggressive, and sometimes I know you guys shoot from boats mainly. Over here sometimes you can't get boats into where big crocs are, and it's going to be a totally different experience for me. I've never done it before. I know a lot of other guys haven't done it before.
Came close today, but there's big ones floating around there, and the only ones that came close were little ones. Gonna try again tomorrow. We saw right across the bank where they had been laying on the rock and on the bank on the previous 2 days, so we said, let's get this pop-up blind, let's get around to that side of the river and set up on that rock. And that alone wasn't an easy feat because there wasn't any trails on the other side of the river. And we had to walk way upriver to get where we could jump across on the rocks, and then we even had to get in the kayak to get out to the rock. We got into that blind, set up on that rock. The day before there was 4 crocs laying on that same rock. Not only did we want to put a float on this croc, but to tone down his aggressive nature, we wanted to hit him in the vital areas. They have a fairly big vital area to shoot at. However, when you're shooting an arrow with 400-pound line on with a float system on, your accuracy at long distances gets a little shaky. So we still needed to get this croc within 15 yards to get a real accurate shot on him and get it into the vitals. we were in the blind and we were watching this 8-foot croc for 40 to 60 minutes, and I was getting pretty anxious because you can't shoot anything that's under 9 foot in Zimbabwe. It has to be an over a 9-foot croc. So when Tim said there's another one coming down river, I was getting pretty pumped and excited to see how big this thing was going to be. The purpose of using the big game float system is so that you're able to track the croc after he's hit. If you're not able to track that croc, he gets in the water and you lose him. You basically lost your game that you're after.
Got him tagged, Gus. We got him tagged.
I got a pretty good shot on him, we think. You can see the float over there. There's a little channel there. It doesn't go anywhere, but we're waiting him out a little bit. We got some guys going around and they're trying to chase him back out in this hole so we can get on him. Beautiful animal. Beautiful, big animal. The goal after the float was to get another broadhead arrow into this croc. That proved to be much harder because of the long times that it stayed underwater. None of us really wanted to pull too hard on that line because we never knew how good that point was holding in the croc. But we did get a couple shots on him. I did get one good shot on him. Before we pulled him out of the water, we had him worn down pretty good after chasing him up and down the river for 6 hours that day. He's got to be dead. He's got to be dead. Just saw a bunch of bubbles come up for several minutes. The float hasn't moved for a long time. I don't remember when we last saw him up above, but it's got to be close to an hour or more. He looks like he's done. We switched positions this morning, and this one came in, hit him right in the perfect spot with the reel and put a float on him. Hit him in the lung, vital area right here, and that float was in him for good. What a beaut. He's about 11 feet long. Awesome, just incredible, incredible hunt.
It's a good system. I promise you, I didn't think it was going to work, but it did its job.
The float system really works, and it is, I would definitely recommend it for hunting croc.